This is Public Access Lost Transmissions, the Night of the Bone Wolves Part 2. The last thing we saw was Shane getting grabbed from basically someone smashed the back window and pulled Shane through it, and Shane glimpsed Ash, their dead brother, um, back behind the house in the alley behind the house. While that was going on, the front door was being smashed in by presumably by this woman who was trying to bring you a hot dish from next door. You've never met this neighbor before. Presumably it's Paula Palmer, but we don't know for sure. We haven't really gotten a good look at her. The house is filled with people. All the old timers are there. Emily Beaumont's there. The People's Champ is there. Obviously, the three of you are there. And there was going to be like a plan, but it's being cut short a little bit here, and you're all going to have to improvise a bit to figure out how to trap and banish these entities. And so, if there's no other questions, we will kind of just pick up immediately with what's going on here. Um, Indeed, Shane, you look up to see that you are being manhandled by a group of, it looks like, um, it looks like teenagers in school uniforms. They are pulling you out. You'll probably, I can't remember if Shane watched that tape or not, but if Shane did watch that tape, you'll recognize them as the kids that jumped from the roof in I Want My Video Beat at the end of that video. And you turn over and you see Ash. That's the setup for our night move that we're going to have you do. What are you afraid is going to happen right now?
I don't think she recognizes the kids. I think that was Ash that was there. But I think she's afraid that she's afraid that Ash is dead, but that she is already dead too, and that's why she's seeing him. That something has
Oh,
happened.
oh, it's worse than that. The whole house, if you fail, is pulled into a hell realm controlled by Mr. Big Bad. You don't really have a lot of choices here in terms of what you're going to do and having and whether you want to back out or not, except to say, I guess what I want to know is how you're going to resist this. Like, what do you do? And then maybe if you want, we can I kind of did order of operations out of order, but like, what are you going to do here?
This still doesn't feel real to her. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to make a case for sensitivity, the idea that she is sort of intuitive. She's got sight beyond sight as a move, so she has some sort of intuitiveness. And the idea being that if this isn't real, this is some sort of maybe psychic manifestation or what have you,
Okay,
that
I
she
like
can will
that.
it away.
Oh, I'm into this. This is really good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. Yeah, yeah. Same stakes. I think the stakes are good. Um, this is really terrific. Let's take a look at your conditions before you roll.
I'm stacked.
Don't open the door. God is dead. Yeah, he watched it all happen. I don't know what any of these things mean necessarily, but they feel like they should apply. So go ahead and roll with
Yeah,
disadvantage.
she's
They
just got
feel
a lot.
appropriate.
She's had a lot going on. And so in that case, let me check my items, see if I can
Yeah.
use anything. Um, so I'm going to make the argument for using the crying circle as a item, and I think it's more of a retroactive thing. I think that
Okay.
um, she's been sort of like she knows the power of that game, and so she's been sort of studying it, and she's applying some of the techniques here, some of the psychic techniques that are employed by the game to manipulate reality and to open gateways.
I'm
And
into
so I
it.
think,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm into it. Yeah, roll with two dice plus your sensitivity of one. What was that?
that's a two,
Good start.
three total. So yeah,
um, so what's going to happen if you don't mark? Well, I'll just narrate it. None of this is real. None of it's real. You wake up to find yourself You wake up to find yourself laying on a bed in a room that's perfectly white, brightly lit. Someone opens the door to this little room and they push in a trolley. It's a nurse. And he says, "Hey, little lady, time for afternoon, your afternoon pills and chaser." And he's got like a little paper cup with pills and some water. And it's time for you to take your medication. How'd you sleep last night?
Where am I?
And we're going to go through that again. Next, you're going to ask me, where's your brother? Then you're going to ask me about, listen, you got to take your pills.
Who are you?
He smiles and his his grin is vulpine, I would say. And he says, "I'm your best friend in the world."
Question. If I choose to stick with this, is that just the end of Shane?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. Because I have an idea. I'll let you get to the other two, but I have an idea.
Okay. Well, we'll play with it. I will give you chances to back out in the future. Still,
Okay.
you can hold on to it for a minute.
Okay.
Taylor and Amber, you have the team assembled. Thomasina, the old timers are here. Emily Beaumont's here. The two of you have been here all summer, figuring out all these weird mysteries, trying to find out what's going on with this TV station that you think you remember.
Hmm.
And now the sun-faced man has told you that there's going to be some kind of assault, and you're all ready. Ding dong, ding dong,
Just the two of us, never anyone else.
ding dong, ding dong.
Yeah, let's look through the people.
There's a woman standing at the door. She is wearing a just a kind of a simple like house dress with a pink apron, and she has a casserole dish in her hands, and she's kind of waving at the peephole.
Didn't we have that already?
Ding
It's
dong.
it's the neighbor again.
Yeah, don't open the door.
Thomasina
Of course,
says,
I'm not
"Isn't
opening
someone
the
going to open
door.
the door?"
No,
No, just
I will start chanting the thing immediately.
I love it. She's calling from the other side of the door. She's like, "Hello, I'm your neighbor. I haven't had a chance to stop by and say hi. I brought you a veal parmesan."
We'll be right there.
Uh, okay.
Just getting dressed.
Oh, what's going on over there? I see a lot of cars in the yard. Is this some kind of party? You know
Yeah,
what's really
yeah, it's
good
a
at a
party.
party is a
It's a
veal
party.
parmesan. Yeah.
Yes, yes. You um
I
we'll
could
let you
probably
in a
feed at least
second.
12 people with this thing. It's awfully heavy.
Perfect. Codex Gigas.
I
Freya,
love it.
let's do it.
Is the plan to like hold her in place basically so she can't do anything? Is that the idea?
Yes, that's the plan.
I love it. This is going to be the night move. It's dusk, but it's close enough to night. It's going to be the
Yeah.
night move. Um, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid that the spell is bullshit and doesn't work at all.
I think it's worse than that. This you are so busy trying to get this spell to work and trying to like keep her there that you fail to recognize or to see that people are sneaking in through the back.
Amber, did you leave the back door unlocked?
We shall find out. If you're okay with these
All right.
stakes, go ahead and pick up
Yeah.
dice. It's going to be with sensitivity. You do have feeling good, which you could burn to get advantage. Or I think it's how it works. Is it advantage or a 12 plus? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I
But-
think it's an
Advantage.
advantage, right?
Yeah.
Or you could just use an item. If you have the Codex Gigas in your corner of the house, I suppose you could. I don't know if you do or not. I don't know if that was actually like an item or not.
I think it was an item, but someone else said it.
No, it's on your sheet and
Oh, it's on my
unmarked.
sheet.
Oh, okay.
It's
We'll go ahead and
unlocked?
mark that then. Yeah.
Where is it? I can't find it.
It says coffee
Doesn't
table
matter.
version of the
Um,
Codex Gigas. I'll mark it for you.
Oh, coffee. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, I will use it and lose it, and let's go.
+0.
Yeah, that's a 7.
Okay.
Close. That's good enough, I
Yeah.
guess.
It's describe the ritual. And
Okay.
I think actually I would like to suggest that while you're doing the ritual, like Thomasina and the old timers are all like, I think they're probably all like they're all like kind of trying to stall a little bit with this woman up front, and so they're kind of like hollering out like, "Oh yeah, we'll be there in just a second. We gotta clean the place up a little bit, right? We're doing some renovations. Really, really dangerous for people to come in here." And they're like banging on things, like they're like,
Very good.
Well, you're like busily trying to do this. So what does the ritual actually look like?
Well, the ritual is question. So there are instructions in the book that I try to follow as closely as possible.
Okay.
So while chanting something I barely understand, I also simultaneously try to move my eyes and visualize like shackles that hold this demon in place. And while doing that, I grow almost desperate because you're supposed to read with your eyes and also move your eyes and look at stuff. And I don't feel it. I don't feel anything. And that's what scares me most. So I keep going faster and faster in the hopes of actually feeling the magic. But
love it.
there's not even a slight tingling in my fingertips or anything, so it makes me feel stupid as well. But nevertheless, I persist.
I'll describe the outcome in a moment, but I'm curious what you're doing in the meantime, Amber.
I think we kind of established that there's this unfinished bunker beneath the house, and then there's an entryway from outside, and we've got walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
So I placed one in the basement, and I'm trying to lure in some of those students,
The-
you know.
You're not even aware of the students. There's
Okay.
no sign of them. Yeah.
So we've got Paula at the front door, right?
You have a woman who says she's your neighbor at the
Oh
front door.
yeah, sure,
That's all
sure.
I've ever
As a
said.
player,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say,
I mean, we
assume it's
yeah,
Paula.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll check in with Thomasina because she's preparing that ritual, and I'm gonna see if anyone's approaching us from the back of the house.
I think that I'll take that opportunity to kind of, since we got a mixed result on the Codex Gigas roll, I think what I'll do, I'm gonna suggest I'm gonna suggest that that's when you notice all around the house, like in a perimeter, you'll notice the students. They've made like a cordon around the house.
Hmm.
There's like several dozen of them, and they're all just standing there, kind of slack-jawed and heads kind of tilted, and they're taking very slow, shuffling, zombie-like steps, getting closer and closer to the house, but they're not there yet. You can just see them
Hmm.
kind of in the distance. We'll pick up with this in a moment, all of this. Shane, the nurse says, the doctor's going to be in momentarily to talk to you. He's going to be really upset if you don't take your medicine beforehand.
Um, could you just give me a moment? I have to use the restroom.
Sure, of course. And there is a little restroom in your room. So, yeah. What do you do?
If he leaves the room, she's gonna rush up, slam the door shut, pull whatever furniture she can, like a chair or something, and like press it underneath the doorknob, and like brace herself against the back of the door, or her back against the door. And I imagine that causes a bit of a stir, but
Oh,
as
yeah.
that's going on, she is not focusing on the sound or any kind of attempts to get in. She is because I have the wandering monolith marked. I'm going to try and reach
Oh.
out to the big man for help right now.
And this is something we're really leaning into
Yeah.
lately.
I think she's just like, I know you're somewhere. You have to be here. Please get me out of here.
There's a tapping on the glass of your door, the little window. Shane, Shane, it's me, Dr. Lupin. Are you. Do we have to go through this again, Shane? Really?
Just a minute. Big
Your
man, where are you?
brother's death hit you really hard, but we're going to help you be better, Shane. You just have to let us help you. You have to let us do what is necessary to bring you back to your friends, to your family.
Or what, you'll huff in your puff?
Oh, Shane, how many times have we gone through this? There's no such thing as Mr. Big Bad. It's just a figment of your imagination.
Big man, please.
We'll come back to this. Well, it works, Taylor. She starts freaking the fuck out. Just like she did in this sort of like scene where Shane saw her. She's like, she's like, just like screaming, like, let me go! Let me in! Quit fucking around with me! I've got a fucking veal parmesan that I spent all afternoon slaving over, and you're going to eat it! And but she can't move. You can see it. You can see her hands. If you look through the peephole or through the window, you can see her hands trembling. She also looks a little different now, too. She looks a little more like Paula Palmer from TV Odyssey, from the Odyssey tape. And even though she's like screaming and hurling all this invective, she's smiling. Her hair is beautifully
Yes.
sculptured. Everything is flawless.
I also kind of scream, it's working! Jesus fucking Christ, it's working! I don't know. Get her in the bunker! Get her in the bunker!
Okay, so you're hearing that through the walkie-talkie, Amber, but you're also aware of the students getting closer and closer. What are you going to do to
Hmm.
lure them wherever they're, or whatever you need to do with them? I mean, they're going to be a real problem. There's lots of them.
That's true. So, I mean, I could do something silly and go outside, um, be bait for them, make some noise,
Yeah.
attract them, and lead them downstairs. I will avoid whatever pit there is of the unfinished bunker, and probably they fall inside, and then
It's a good
let's
plan.
see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan. Draw their attention, lure them down into the bunker, so that the old timers can do their old magic. I'm into it. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail this night move?
Um, yeah, they'll be quicker than I am. Basically, they're like 28 days later
Oh,
zombies, not.
they just start running at you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really good.
exactly.
Obviously, it's worse than that. They will. I think they'll tear you apart.
Yeah,
Sure.
and this is how you die, Amber.
Oh.
Like you see me almost leaving the door, and you say, "Wait, this is how you die." And what does it do
You the
exactly again?
walkie-talkie. Well, so we've already kind of set stakes of like basically the miss. I was going to say they tear you apart, but I kind of like the idea of like they what Taylor saw is like yeah, like you are torn apart, maybe physically and even whatever spiritual stuff is going on in this world. You're rent into pieces by them, right? They feed upon you, so to
Yeah.
speak, these great hungers. But you both get XP, so that's it.
I
It's
mean,
going to be with composure, I think. But
so and there was like no turning of keys with that. I
no,
don't
so
really
basically,
remember.
yeah, no, like the no, the the more like I guess like if you use this little prophecy thing, you could use it like on an information move or a meddling move rather, and
Mhm.
then have death be the result of that. Here on a
Ah,
6-, no matter what we've negotiated, no matter what, it's like locking it in. You're dead if you get a 6-. You can still use Janus Mask or you can still turn a key, but
yes.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, fair
but
enough.
yeah.
I mean, Amber's going to say to Taylor, you've been wrong so many times.
I really
This
hope
will be
so.
another one.
I love it. Uh,
I'm
yeah,
just starting to like you, Amber. So please be right.
Um, I mean, I do have that item um of that special VHS tape that gives me a 12 plus no matter what happens, so I don't actually have to roll. And maybe I can use that here.
oh, what item is this?
So this is like from layer 3, someone's watching me, that item.
Oh, I kind of
That
vaguely remember this, but
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
So
this is
I
the
think Missy
oh,
gave it to me.
I know what this is. This is something that's not surviving into the new edition of the game, but this is like the found footage rules that never really got fleshed out too much, but it still works, so you're good. You can absolutely use it. Um, I had to. It's a surprise to me because I feel like this never gets used, which is why I'm actually ditching it in the new edition.
Oh, fair enough.
But that's how you find these things out, right? I love it. I think with the 12 plus, the bonus I'll give you is that the old timers and Thomasina can perform the banishing ritual on Paula where she's at too. So basically,
Perfect.
they can just like
Perfect.
because she can't move, and then the kids won't be able to move. I just need you to describe the process of getting the kids. Like, give me the montage scene of getting them to follow you into the uh, to the basement.
Yeah. So by the way, I picture Amber having put some effort into her looks as well. So she's got like a black bandana as well and some face paint. Um, it's not really necessary, but you know, you have to look appropriately. And she's running outside, shouting at the students, mocking them, and they are zombie-like. Fortunately, not so fast that she can't outrun them, and she'll run down the basement. She makes sure um, that the half-built bunker is like slightly covered with like paper, or whatever, so they don't immediately see the pit they'll fall into. And I think the special VHS tape is actually um, kind of used, like she tore out the tape and she put it at the edges of the pit so they can't get out.
Shane, I'm going to use the Wandering Monolith as just a justification for how you're going to do a night move to essentially
Hmm.
try to summon the help of the big man, right? What are you afraid is going to happen if this goes poorly?
I'm afraid Dr. Lupine's gonna huff and puff and blow the door down.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Um, how is it worse than that? I think he will add you to the hellish charnel pit where your brother is currently located. So
Already.
go ahead and roll with sensitivity. Um, don't open the door. I'm going to put you at disadvantage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have any more items that I think I could use with this. So uh let's just go and see what happens. With a 5.
A five. Dr. Lupin says, after you're like praying, you're like calling upon big man, you're trying to do your best. And Dr. Lupin says, little pig, let me in. Oh, that's not going to help you, calling out to him. He has no power here. This is the realm of the moon. The sun cannot penetrate this beautiful silvery darkness. Use your common sense, girl. I can see I'm going to have to do this the hard way. I don't like having to do things the hard way. I was hoping this could be a more amicable outcome. Nevertheless. And at that point, the white walls, the bright lit room begins to be succumbed by tendrils of darkness that are stretching in, emanating from the general direction of the door, but spreading out. They eventually cloak the light. They cover the white walls. And you can feel behind you hot breath, stinking of rotting meat. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. And I think I'd like to know how, at the end of all things, you've been reunited with your brother.
Um I think that after Mr. Big Bad says that there's just this sort of powerful wind that blows the door down, sends Shane flinging across the floor. Imagine the door is probably even on top of her, and she pushes it off. And I think she sees that the truth of this place, the kind of silvery darkness that's beyond it, and sees the wailing of these spirits that have been made flesh, but they're all sort of fused with one another, this sort of great corridor that's behind him. And this, we see just the doctor, this sort of human doctor, sort of dissolve into the corridor, and we realize that the corridor is the throat of Mr. Big Bad. Its tongue is sort of becoming like a red carpet for her to walk up through. And she gets up and realizes that she can't resist the pull. And she begins to walk along the throbbing moistness of his tongue into his mouth. She feels with every breath, the heat brushing against her skin, brushing her hair past her ears and making her eyelashes flutter. It's powerful, but she continues onwards. She sees everything that he's ever eaten writhing and howling, trying to escape from inside of his gullet, but it can't. But she sees him. He is actually the little, I forget what it's called, little hanging dangling thing at the back of the mouth. She
Oh
sees
yeah.
his face in that. She sees the glasses on him. And she puts her hand gently to this dangling mound of flesh, her brother's face hanging upside down inside of it. She gets down on her knees and looks at it, looks him in the eyes, and she just says, I'm here. We're together again.
Are you turning a key?
I'm going to turn the chromatic desert.
Ah, very interesting indeed.
Oh.
It bumps up your roll to 7 to 9, which means the big man is going to save you. The complication, though, is going to be that the other latchkeys don't have the opportunity to capture Mr. Big Bad, only Paula and the students. And so Mr. Big Bad might continue to be a problem. But in any case, let's pick back up with the others. Thomasina and the old timers, they have been in contact with the big man for many years. They know the old ways, they know the ritual, they know what role they're meant to serve. They've stuck around all this time for this moment in some ways. And indeed, they know the words, they know the positions, they know the chants, they know the singing, they know the dances. They are going into it. And I'd like to just do a quick montage of all of us describing either the kids or Paula Palmer, or maybe some aspect of the ritual, like what it looks like as they are banished back to wherever the hell they came from. Whoever wants to start, please do.
I think the students um, who are trapped in that half-built bunker, they are actually they killed themselves um, by jumping down a building, and now it's reversed. So they are almost like spirited away into the air through the building till we can't see them anymore to a static like sky.
And when looking at Paula, it looks like someone's switching channels very fast on the remote. So there are faces and places overlaid over her character, and her face also switches to cartoon character faces and to news host faces, and whatever you can think of, and finally to static that just slowly fizzles out, but at the corner of our eyes, when we move our heads too fast, we can still see a static in the air and the kind of like Jack's background.
Jack, I'd love to hear what it's like. Like, how does Shane first experience the chromatic desert?
I think as she's caressing her brother's face, still hanging upside down, I don't think it can form words in the state. It can only make sounds. And as Mr. Big Bad prepares to close his mouth and swallow essentially Shane, there's a force, maybe it's even a physical force, a hand that rips her out from the mouth. And as she's pulled out, she feels that last kind of embrace, and she almost tears at the cheek of her brother, trying to bring him along with, but she can't. And she's flung back. But as soon as she sort of hits the ground, her back against not not the tile of this hospital room, but of white sand, and she looks up and she realizes that she's outside somewhere in the middle of the desert, but the desert itself is black and white. There is no color here, only shades of gray. The sky, though, has that kind of same flickering effect that you would see on a television that doesn't have a channel. She stands up and she looks down at herself, and she too is colorless, devoid of anything resembling the real world now, just blanched. And she looks around and she realizes that she's alone, and there doesn't seem to be any life besides her right now that she can see, aside from the dry brush and the cacti, who again are that same desaturated black and white.
Later that night, Emily Beaumont has just finished cooking a gigantic pot of chili and is handing out bowls to everyone. The people's champ comes in from outside. He has his Serpent Master's Guide in his hand, and or what do we call it? Crypt? I don't remember what they're called in Serpent Sepulchres, but he's got his little guide, and he
Mm.
says, "Okay, I've put all the runes on the trees on the outside of the house, and I've laid down the salt circle, and I've done everything. I think the house is going to be protected from, well, all kinds of stuff. Actually, I mean, your whites, your banshees, your boggarts. Nothing's getting in here. Okay, like you're all good. Wow, that was really exciting." He like raises his mask a little bit to eat chili.
Ah, yeah, thank you. That was quite
That's
helpful.
one word for it, yeah.
Thomasina and some of the old timers from White Spray are they kind of like are I imagine everybody's just kind of sitting around the living room, right? And Thomasina says, "Well, so what are you two gonna do now? I mean, after something like this, I imagine you're gonna go back home, huh?"
I mean,
We still have a camping trip to go on.
Oh yeah, I heard you talking about that earlier. Going to
oh
Los
boy.
Ojos, chasing
Yeah.
down the Deep Lake Devils. You two just you like to get into trouble, don't you?
I mean,
I guess. Maybe we just maybe we just don't want to go back. Maybe we're just kind of running from whatever's waiting for us back home.
I think it's great though. I mean, you know, the sort of thing that bonds two young kids in love is danger and adventure, right?
And Amber spits out a chili. What do you think? Just because it's the two of us, we're automatically a couple?
Well, I mean, I I don't want to presume. And she's kind of looking around and she says, but you know, the two of you kind of give off a vibe. I can't be the only one who thinks that. And then like
And then
everyone else like
It's
agrees. So like,
it's
yeah.
called
yeah,
shared
exactly.
trauma. Oh, I kind of glance at Amber inconspicuously to see what she's thinking about this.
I mean, she's picturing the two of us probably. And then she goes, no, no.
Thomasina,
Too busy
yeah.
for that kind of stuff.
Thomasina explains that she and the others are probably they feel like they've stuck around long enough at this point. They're gonna they're gonna go into the west and remain Galadriel, as it were. They're taking the
But
ship to
we-
Valinor.
We'll see you again, right? Before
Maybe,
we-
I don't know. You got Dog to remind you of me.
Yeah.
I think we've been around here too long. I think whatever that man in the yellow suit all those years ago told us that we would be needed for has come to pass. If you see him again, maybe send him up White Spray Way. I'd like to say goodbye.
Thank you so much for your help, everyone.
Yeah, we'll make sure to let him know that you helped us enormously. We couldn't have done it without you. And she says it to everyone except the people's champ.
Except the people's champ. That concludes the Night of the Bone Wolves. There's not any particular rewards for this, except you do get to mark XP. Everyone gets 2 XP for completing the Night of the Bone Wolves. I think the two Taylor and Amber get a third XP because of that prophecy thing, but everybody you get
And
2.
you're alive.
And we'll pick up next time. Shane is in the Chromatic Desert. Does not exist. Indeed, never existed. And we'll see what the Chromatic Desert is like. We'll basically wrap up the Deep Lake Devils, or whatever that threat is called, on Strange Wings. Is that what it is? On Strange Wings? Yeah. We'll wrap up on Strange Wings, and that'll probably take 1 session, and then after that we'll do the TV Odyssey mystery. So we get our camping trip finally next week. So I think that's all I've got, though. We can just do a quick stars and wishes for the wrap up here.
I think I'll start. So, I really liked how you narrated Paula's end, Natasha. It was pretty cool, and I was kind of afraid that Jane would die as well, but seeing her in the Chromatic Desert, I think that's a good choice. And the way you narrated her being eaten, that was really, really good. I like that a lot, especially the vivid descriptions. And yeah, big star for bringing it all together, especially those many NPCs, Jason. And I liked the um, reoccurring motif that Thomasina and the others, the old timers, they knew, and that was their purpose. And I think that's a really good callback to when we met them for the first time. Regarding my wish, I think I want at some point, probably sooner than later, see Shane again, and that's gonna be difficult. But I've got I Am Error, so maybe there's a chance.
Oh, you have I Am Error.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was
Oh,
trying to kill
interesting.
her.
Oh,
Because I
interesting,
wanted to see
interesting.
that.
Okay, that is going to be intriguing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm really looking forward to the camping trip and the comments about well, you brought your little friend or whatever.
Yeah. Uh, Fantastic. Yeah, I had a great time. I also really enjoyed the description of Paula being zapped away. Loved going into Mr. Big Bad's mouth. That was really terrific, particularly the Freddy Krueger-esque ash in the little whatever you call that in the back of your throat. That was pretty great. I was just thinking of like the meatball kill in in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Or is it 4? 4 or 5, whichever one it is. Um, and yeah, it was just a really good scene. I really, I kind of like, I have continued to love the dynamic between Amber and Taylor and how you both play that, and that's why it was extra fun for me to like drop the like, oh yeah, y'all are a couple, right? Like, kind of thing. Which I thought was just a lot of fun. It was a good little entree into that. Yeah, and my only wish is just yeah, this damned camping trip. I'm glad we're gonna have it finally. And then, so that should be intriguing to see how that shapes up. I have to go back and review the video because I don't remember what a current state is with Renita and what's going on with her. Um, and uh, yeah, so that'll be intriguing. And because I think she was like in the she's like not real or something, and there's like the real Renita up in the attic or
Yeah,
something. I don't know. There's some weird shit
yeah,
going
yeah.
on. Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so that'll be really intriguing. I'm not sure what it all means yet, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, just really fun.
Yeah. Who would have saw today coming? I didn't. But I am glad that it went the way that it did. Because I think um, there's going to be some interesting fallout from this. I had noticed that Amber had I Am Error, and so when I marked my Chromatic Desert, I was like, maybe some stuff will come from that. And so I'm as a star as a star to wish. I'm curious to see how Amber interacts with that, given that she's now sort of like could theoretically sort of be like in two worlds, and to see how that kind of like affects her psychology in this whole thing as we get to the end. Like, how does that, like, what does that do to her? Um, Again, started to Tasha for the really cool description of Paula's body changing, like channels being flipped. I thought that was a really interesting take on
Very
it.
Videodrome kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Um, and I don't know, I loved that everyone got to eat chili at the end. Except for, of course, Amber. I mean Shane, because she's obviously not there and never was. Um, and yeah, no, I'm happy with the end. I'm very just curious to see because I've never played anyone who was in the Chromatic Desert and had to interact in that way. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. Especially on a camping trip where I imagine things are a bit more rustic, but
There
we'll
are no
see.
televisions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe there's a radio.
it's
Who
gonna
knows?
be
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
But yeah, good times.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed the Shane being swallowed or eaten, and the whole wolf character with the huffing and puffing and the door being blown down, and yeah, that was really fun to listen to. And I'm also very much looking forward to the camping trip. Yes, I was kind of, as I said, planning on killing Amber to see what her what her key would entail, but well, I guess we'll see. And I just read in the chat, yeah, we'll take a camcorder to the camping trip. Good idea. Good idea.
Fantastic.
I
That was so
like
good.
it. And
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely stuff for that moment where you said, "Oh, this is how you die."
Yeah, it was fun. Fantastic. Well, I don't think I have anything else. Anything else before we go? Awesome. Well, I'm going to wave goodbye to folks watching the video.